Hey, what's going on, friends? Welcome back to the channel Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. How you doing, mate? I hope you're doing well. Really do hope that. Genuinely welcome back to Chelsea News, the daily series here on this channel where I reflect on what's being said about Chelsea, giving you my opinion on it, more importantly asking for yours. Chelsea, of course, coming off a disappointing result last night. We will reflect on that game a little bit more in the latter stages of this video and talk about the Graham Potter revolution more holistically here on the video. I do want to reference a few things, the response from both the potential sporting director joining Chelsea and Brighton midfielder Moise Caicedo, is that how you say it? And some other stuff. Aubameyang coming out talking about Tuchel as well. Lots to get into. Please do drop a like. Thank you for your support. I do really genuinely appreciate it. You're welcome to subscribe should you choose to do so. You know what to do, mate. Hit that sweet, sweet bell, baby. Cheers. Ladies and gents, this video is brought to you by my partner SPITCH. SPITCH is a simple, sleek, fun-to-use fantasy football game where you can either play for free or you can wager some money and win some of them sweet peas. You'll probably know by now SPITCH is powered by an Opta-Stats-driven engine, so you actually get rewarded for knowing about football and picking an appropriate team rather than just goals and assists and clean sheets. SPITCH is free to check out. Simply click the link in the top of the description to go check out SPITCH now. Have a little look around, sign up. You only have to pop in whenever you want. You don't have to commit to a season. You can just play every now and again on the weekend. So check it out. Click the link in the description. Nice one. Alright then, let's get into it. Before we talk about Graham Potter more holistically at the end of the video and why perhaps people need to employ some patience for this long-term project, I do want to talk about a few things that I'm getting off Chelsea Twitter, or news Twitter. I'm using Cy Phillips and Vince Bluefooty just to get a few quotes of people to reflect on some news and looking into the future, essentially. First off, I wanted to talk about what Aubameyang said after the game last night. He was interviewed, of course. This has kind of been a big story because he was our deadline day signing, a number 9 brought in, generally an elite goal scorer, but pretty much because Thomas Tuchel's worked with him before. Thomas Tuchel was, of course, fired very shortly after, raising a lot of collective eyebrows of why did you sign Aubameyang in the first place, and, you know, pour one out for this guy's Chelsea career, how's he going to feel, etc, etc. Of course, he ended up starting the first game with Graham Potter, which I actually think was probably a good move. It's showing a, you know, it's a symbol of faith, like, no, I recognise you're a good striker, I come from Brighton, I've been gagging for finishers in my team for a long, long time. You're Aubameyang, I know you can finish chances, you have been finishing chances in Barcelona, so I think it was important that Graham Potter did that. Personally, I really want to see Armando Broja given a chance. All his cameos have been positive so far, but I understand why Graham Potter has started Aubameyang in this instance. And I'm going to read out his quote now once interviewed after the game. Everyone knows the relationship I have with Thomas Tuchel, and it's always sad. I just saw him a few days later. He was frustrated and he was sad. I will try and talk to him as soon as possible. That is genuinely a sad message, saying, look, obviously I'm disappointed that he's gone. I have a really close relationship with him. I have seen him and he was frustrated and sad. And genuinely, I feel still pretty emotional about Thomas Tuchel. Obviously, he wrote those messages on his Twitter. He never goes to social media either. He had a bit of an outpouring of emotion. He didn't do this at Dortmund. He didn't do this at PSG. He genuinely loved Chelsea, Thomas Tuchel. Of course, he had the banner and stuff, and Arno Michels, his assistant coach, did something on his Instagram story yesterday, recognising the 21st minute tribute that the Chelsea fans paid at Stamford Bridge. So it is emotional, and I can understand Thomas Tuchel probably being pretty darn bummed out, not enjoying his £6.9 million payout or whatever it was. Probably like, I messed this up. This was my chance to build something at a club that I loved, and I do genuinely feel bad. But we move on. We shan't linger on. It's interesting for Aubameyang to come out and say, look, yes, this sucks. I came for Thomas. He's bummed out. I want to talk to him. But we move on. I've started for Graham Potter. Whatever. Let's move on to the next story. So Moise Caicedo is a midfielder that everyone's been excited about this season, playing for Brighton, looking really, really positive. And many people said that, wow, if we can take someone from Brighton, if we can poach some players from there after getting Graham Potter, a lot of people said, oh, Caicedo might be someone that we'd like to see. Of course, Chelsea bid for midfielders at the end of the transfer window. We looked at the lad from Southampton. We tried to get Alvarez from Ajax, who we may still go back in for in the January transfer window. But now Potter is in situ and he might be looking for players that he understands can play his football, and perhaps he's already scouted long term and his targets. Could it be this young man? Well, interestingly, he's responded to links to Chelsea Football Club, and he had this to say. I think they are one of the best teams in the world, and nobody would turn down an offer from Chelsea or a club like that. It would be a dream to be in one of the best teams in the world and succeed there. Well, Caicedo, sounds like you'd be welcome with a lot of Chelsea fans' opinions about you, and of course, the new manager is the ex-Brighton manager. Who knows, maybe this is an appropriate option for midfield reinforcements. But of course, we are getting ahead of ourselves a little bit. Chelsea have signed the likes of Chukwuemeka. Chelsea have signed the likes of Cesare Casadei from Inter. These young, talented players, Graham Potter will have to start thinking about, at some point, for maybe first team, integration. But still, if we were looking to buy a first team midfielder, which we absolutely were if you follow the end of the transfer window, this could be a great option. Right, let's move on and talk sporting directors. Of course, Graham Potter brought a load of his staff with him, including a head of recruitment, but Chelsea will absolutely still be looking for a sporting director. That was always the plan. As soon as Todd Boehly and Egbali got through the door, Todd Boehly, of course, just played the interim role. Now, we've spoken about this at length recently, Michael Edwards, etc., etc., but of course, we've been heavily linked with Christoph Freund, of late the Salzburg sporting director, who, of course, moseyed on down to Stamford Bridge yesterday to take a point off us in the Champions League. Now, he was interviewed and responded to Chelsea rumours, and he had this to say: "You should never rule out anything in football, and Chelsea are such a huge club. But I am sports director in Salzburg, and I do really enjoy it, but I can't say exactly what will happen in the next few weeks and months." End quote. Guys, I love it here. It's not that I don't like you. Chelsea are a massive club, but I can't say what's going to happen in the coming weeks. That statement leaves you open. That to me is basically saying, look, we are negotiating, I'll see if it happens. That does genuinely sound like he's like, yeah, I'm probably going to leave in a bit. It's no disrespect, I like it here, but Chelsea are a massive club. I mean, make what you will out of that, but to me, that sounds a bit like Christoph's going, yeah, especially Todd Boehly being interviewed recently, or speaking live at the Salt conference, whatever that thing was. He was talking about the RB model, the Red Bull model, how they have, multiple clubs employ the same sort of football, and they have joined up thinking. He sort of said it with the City group as well, but in terms of RB, there's a common theme and philosophy across their teams in terms of football. I think Chelsea want to do that as well. Of course, they want Chelsea itself to be the flagship, but they're looking at, I'll report on this in a little bit more detail in another video, but Todd Boehly is apparently looking to buy a Portuguese team. He wants to buy feeder clubs for Chelsea and start, building a group where you're not loaning your player to another team with another prerogative. You want to have joined up thinking, joined up footballing philosophy. I think he's done it in MLB as well, or baseball with other teams maybe. I'm not entirely sure. Of course, this is something I'll research better prior to, commenting on it and offering my commentary. But there is that desire there, and clearly they like the model of the RB Salzburg, Leipzig teams, and they want to bring Christoph in. Looking at it now, I think it's likely that this guy joins Chelsea and becomes the sporting director. Alright, enough of that, let's talk about Graham Potter and Chelsea. So of course, ultimately a disappointing result yesterday. I did do my post-match presser for Chelsea's draw at Stamford Bridge in the Champions League against RB Salzburg. If you're yet to watch it, I'd urge you guys to go check out my most recent upload prior to this one. Look, man, it's very, very difficult to decipher performances like this, because it was a little bit more, risky, high-octane vertical passes. Is that because of Graham Potter's philosophy, or is that because he's the new manager in town and players are just trying something to impress him, or is it a bit of both? Mason Mount was playing in a sort of hybrid 8 role. It was a back 3. I was talking about it as a back 4 yesterday because I thought Cucurella was playing left back, and it's a hybrid, sort of system. They switch all the time. But yeah, Raheem Sterling was occupying the left flank and playing as an offensive left wing back. Mason Mount was playing in a midfield 3. that kind of made him look like more of a number 8, which, by the way, Mason Mount is a number 8. He's not a double 6 player. He's not really an inside 10. By trade and by profile, Mason Mount is a number 8, and he occupied that space yesterday and looked a bit better. People are losing their minds a little bit on the social medias, on Chelsea Twitter, etc., saying, you know, oh, we're out of the group stage now, we're going to be poor, etc., etc. The thing is, guys, what people need to accept, recognize, and absorb, these are the facts. Chelsea have just sacked a world-class manager, and we've employed a probably not world-class manager for a long-term project. You're going to have to be patient with that. That may frustrate you, but ultimately, the vision is this is going to bear fruit, and it's better you do it now, get it in early, and start the development ASAP. Graham Potter is an excellent communicator. He won't lose his shit, basically, and throughout difficult times, he'll keep the camp measured and communicative. That's the most important thing to build a long-term and sustainable model. He'll have the resources to develop Chelsea through Todd Bowley, and clearly, which he will do. The football will be expansive. He's not just some nobody. Graham Potter's well respected within the tactics and management game, and he will need time. And it might get worse before it gets better. Even if when I say it gets worse, there's more positive intent there. I mean, Jorginho, man, he was playing all sorts of forward passes. Again, is that because he's just trying to impress the gaffer and he's always been allowed to, or now he's allowed to, or is it tactically different? There's so many things to consider. None of us want to see Cesar's Piliqueta in a hybrid role that sometimes puts him in the back too, and you know, it's a lot of slowness out. We will see younger players. Graham Potter brings the age down, you know, Thiago Silva, Cesar Piliqueta, it's very, very old. We will see Koulibaly, we will see Fofana. I won't worry too much. The midfield will get younger. We'll see more appearances from Bria. It's the first game. It's just important that people don't lose their minds over it, and also just employ a state of patience, because that's the whole game with Potter. The idea is that you're bringing in this new guy that can build long term. He isn't going to throw his toys out the pram. He's not going to do a Mourinho and Conte and like rally against the board. Even Thomas Tuchel, who is so good, he's an emotional guy, which is great and helps your management sometimes, but for the new model it's unsustainable. You might find Graham Potter boring, but he's very intelligent and he's measured. It's that emotional intelligence kicking in, but he's not going to play boring pragmatic football. He's going to play direct and good systemic football. We just want to see goals. Understandably, Chelsea fans are annoyed because it's just the same old problems in terms of not converting chances, and same story of this season. Sterling scoring, no one else doing anything. So we're gonna have to chill out, people. Let me know what you think though. I'm gonna wind down the video here. I want to get people's opinions on everything I've spoken about. The sporting director, Moise Caicedo, do you think that's a good move? How are you feeling about Graham Potter, Aubameyang, Perugia? Start up the conversation down in the comment section below, and I'll be down there reading them out. I appreciate all your support, like your likes and your subs and all that kind of stuff. So thank you for joining me. I look forward to seeing you very soon. Peace.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double. Silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo, chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I laugh me, baby.